Games Workshop sues Ghamak over 3D Warhammer models.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and today we're going to talk about what might be the next biggest legal shakeup for Games Workshop in the tabletop hobby, and that is them versus Ghamak. And yep, you probably heard by now, but Games Workshop is officially suing the popular 3D printing designer, or 3D designer in general. And it's got pretty much the whole Warhammer community talking. So let's break down what's going on. Of course, we only really have one side to the story per se, and why it matters for anyone that loves 3D printing or just painting models in general. So here's the deal. We know that in early 2023, Games Workshop reached out to several 3D artists about possible copyright issues. But according to Ghamak, they say they got hit with the demand to remove just about their entire catalog. Games Workshop didn't say which models were a problem or why, just that they wanted access to Ghamak's business data and to send them a contract that would have basically stopped them from designing new stuff entirely. So Ghamak says they tried to meet them halfway. They offered to pull a change about 30% of their catalog, but after that, GW went quiet for nearly a year before responding, and when they finally did, they still didn't explain what models supposedly crossed the line. Instead, they started takedown attempts on platforms like Patreon and My Mini Factory, with the latter pushing back, saying there wasn't enough proof, which I definitely applaud My Mini Factory and Alex over there for that. So apparently in January 2025, GW filed a full-on lawsuit against Ghamak, but here's the twist. It's not technically about copyright infringement. They're claiming unfair competition. Basically, GW argues that making models compatible with Warhammer games is unfair, even if they're original designs. But more importantly, in my opinion, and I'm not a legal expert, what this doesn't put the onus on them to identify these models and potentially these design characteristics that they claim are copyrighted and they claim are their IP. And if this argument works, it could affect every creator making Ultimate parts that could even fit in Warhammer style armies, whether intended or not. You know, think generic dwarfs, skeletons, tanks, bugs, monsters are all suddenly at risk of being labeled counterfeit. And let's not kid ourselves. Games Workshop went after Spot's The Space Marine book on Amazon over 10 years ago. So yeah, the precedent is there. They're gonna go after people because there's money involved and they have investors. So the community's reaction, of course, has been huge. You know, within hours of the news, Ghamak's fundraiser pulled in about $8 grand from hobbyists who obviously felt like Games Workshop is going too far. On the flip side, GW really hasn't said anything besides confirming to Ghamak that they want these files taken down and that, you know, the actual court documents. To me, this whole thing feels a lot like the old Chapter House case, where the court eventually had to spell out exactly what Games Workshop owned and what they didn't. And that was dangerous for them. So if you ever wondered why Games Workshop started about 10 years ago, kind of slowly rebranding things like Eldar to Eldari, etc., it's because Games Workshop didn't own that. And they want to own everything they do because, well, money. The outcome of this case could definitely decide how much creative freedom designers, fans, and small studios have in the future, and how much control GW can keep over its universe. I spoke with Francisco the morning this news broke, and he couldn't really tell me anything else because, you know, this was basically what the lawyer cleared. But he did update his GoFundMe with a little bit more information with like the Italian court documents and stuff, you know, to kind of support his claims. Also, the GoFundMe is up to around 40,000 euros. So, you know, it's been less than a week and there's been a lot of money raised, you know, on his behalf. So what do you think? Is GW protecting its brand, which it has a right to do, you know, mind you, or is it overstepping into community creativity? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this is definitely not the last we've heard of this situation for what I imagine will be a long time.
Thanks for watching. Supporting us is super easy. Just click on the article links provided, subscribe, or follow us right here. And remember, next time you're searching for the best Warhammer news, type Spiky Bits into Google to get the most accurate info. See you in the next one.